everybody. I hit record without meaning to. So I've just pulled a card for my group, and the question within the message was, where are you ready to expand? And interestingly, and in alignment, I had an intuitive thought when I was in bed last night, which was, tomorrow I'm going to do a YouTube video and I'm going to talk about storytelling. I was like, why? Where's that come from and why? I thought we'll just flow with it, just do the video and see what happens. And I kind of led their thinking about it. And there's so many things I could talk about, and maybe I will or maybe I won't. I'm just going to see what flows from this. Because it was, where could I expand is probably to do more videos like this, to catch them in the moment. I've got a little list in the notes app of my phone of inspired ideas in the moment. And I thought, well, hang on, rather than just writing this down, let's just do it. I sort of embrace the divine masculine energy and take the action straight away. It's before, what, I haven't had breakfast. It's 8:45 in the morning. It's a Saturday. Haven't done my hair. Actually, haven't even cleaned my teeth. How bad's that? But you wouldn't know that if I hadn't told you. So, why storytelling? And interestingly, I'm talking about divine masculine energy and just doing when you're inspired. It's very much a combination of divine feminine and divine masculine, because it's come from that intuitive place of divine feminine energy, and then I've embraced the divine masculine by taking that immediate action. And today's card was all about, I've got it here actually, divine feminine energy. Oh, the cosmic egg, the symbol of the divine feminine. That's the card. So as soon as I saw the question that went with it, where am I ready to expand? It was like, well, I had that idea last night in bed to do the video. So this is me doing the video. So storytelling, as soon as do a video about storytelling popped up for me, in terms of business, I guess, everybody loves a story. And sometimes it is a little bit of a lost art, but it can really magnetise the right people to you within your business. And I suppose can probably repel the ones that aren't right for you, depending on your story, which isn't a bad thing. You want to work with the people that, that are aligned. So, yeah, it's a bit of a lost art too, isn't it? And the first thing that came up for me when I had that thought was some stories I haven't told much about, not publicly, and not for any reason really. It's just never felt like the right time, perhaps, is of that time last year that I spent in hospital. So for those of you that don't know, and for those of you that don't know me, I should have made an introduction, shouldn't I? I'm Roxanne Higgins, a Growth and Joy alchemist. And I believe that shadow work is the missing part in manifestation, and it doesn't have to be hard or painful. Can absolutely make it fun and make it a sort of peaceful journey of joy, basically. So that's sort of me and my message. And yeah, last year I spent 6 weeks on and off, 6 weeks in hospital. I was discharged twice and bounced straight back in. To give you a bit of background there, it had basically this part here of my colon was an absolute mess. They didn't know what it was, because it was that sort of messed up. They didn't know if it was colitis, which I'd previously been diagnosed with, that 5 years earlier it had been led dormant for a long time and hadn't had any flares or anything, or if it was diverticulitis, or Crohn's, or a mixture. And off of the back of one particular scan, I think it was a CT scan. No, it wasn't. It was a colonoscopy. They suspected cancer. And obviously that, I wasn't going to actually tell this story. That was a whole thing in itself, because I had to tell people. I had to tell my daughter. I had to tell my parents. You know, and nobody wants to hear that, do they? And the way I found out was pretty horrific. Horrific, confusing. Because what had happened? So I had had some sedation when they'd done the colonoscopy, and the consultant, I think he was consultant, came and saw me after, and the way I remembered it, which, this trigger warning here, if this, you know, if this could be triggering for some, and like I say, I'm not sure why I've gone here, because that wasn't my intention. The way it happened, the way it played out was, well, the way I remembered it. He came round to speak to me when I was in the recovery, on the recovery ward afterwards, and I thought he told me I had cancer, and my reaction was, oh, how lovely. That's amazing, isn't it? What's that? And then it wasn't until I remember him sort of looking at me funny and then carrying on. And in my head, we weren't on the recovery ward. We were in a boardroom, sat at a conference table. So clearly the sedation had sent me funny places. So he carried on talking to me. And then I went, whoa, wait, hang on a minute. Did you say I had cancer? And I wasn't sure on the response. I really wasn't sure on the response. Whether I thought he'd said yes, but I didn't know. And then I was taken back to the ward, and I asked nurses, and everyone was like, oh, well, we'll look at your notes and we'll come back to you. Nobody come back to me, because I thought surely either my reaction was wrong, or I didn't fully understand what he told me and I've got that wrong. I knew I had something wrong. And that was, yeah, I waited. Gosh, I think it was nearly 24 hours for someone to come round. Nurses came and spoke to me eventually, but they really weren't a great deal of help. But yeah, when I eventually saw a doctor, no, that wasn't the case. It was quite likely, and it looked that way, but they taken apart and sent it off for testing, so I wouldn't know whether it was or whether it wasn't till the test results came back, which was kind of a relief, and then it kind of also made it real. But it was obviously then just a waiting game. I mean, the amazing part of that was, no matter what it was, they were going to remove it eventually. So even if it was that, they took that part out. It wasn't that. It turned out not to be that at all. But I suppose actually the reason I'm probably telling you that about storytelling is that I had, again, under medication, I think it was Oromorph, and I was, seeing all sorts and experiencing all sorts under the pain drugs. I had an experience. Well, I had a few crazy internal experiences, but this particular one was with the Rasta spider god, Anansi, who is the god of storytelling, and also a bit of a trickster, but also quite protective. So, was it off the back of that? No, so prior to that, they told me that my colon was perforated. And that was off the back of a CT scan. So yeah, it was literally perforated. So I remember them being on this medication and was like, woo, wait. And he appeared in my mind, and he appeared in my mind, in my colon, and he, being a spider god, he wove his web. And he wove his web and sealed the perforations. Okay, so I knew that had happened. And in my mind, internally, I knew that was real. So obviously I was very, very grateful, but obviously a bit of a trickster god too. So the scan where they said there was possible cancer, I was also told there was no more no perforations. The perforations had healed, and what they tested was, it looked like a little mushroom, apparently, like a polyp or a little mushroom stuck up. So they'd snipped it to test it, and that's what they thought might be cancer. And do you know what I thought? That's where Anansi, the Rasta spider god, had finished off his web. He'd webbed and woven the perforations back, and he'd just left a knot behind. That's all that was. But you know what? That was such a comfort. And I was so grateful for those crazy internal experiences. It really helped. I made a promise to him, actually, at that time, and that's to tell his stories and to tell more stories. So I think that's why that intuitive thought dropped in last night, because I've honoured that at times, but I've kind of never publicly announced it. I mean, it sounds nuts, doesn't it? Even coming from me, the queen of nuts. So yeah, that. And I also made a kind of pact with him too, that if it wasn't, you know, the big C, and when I'd recovered, I would have a little tattoo in his honour, in his, you know, as, you know, to thank him, as to, yeah, it was such a comfort. So as a mark of respect, as a thank you, I suppose. And I still haven't done that. I own it, and I don't have any tattoos, so it's a little bit like, oh, and I can't quite. I think, again, this is a trust process, because it's not even the time, it's the right idea, well, maybe the right moment too, I can't see how I want it yet, but, you know. So if anyone wants to draw me a Rasta spider god, but really simple, really small, and just to go around the scar somewhere, but that is still not, it's healed, don't get me wrong, but there's some other things going on with the scar. I kind of want to know that it's all right before we start drawing on it. Yeah. So, yeah, tell more stories. Because not only do they invite people into your energy, into your world, see, there's inspiration in stories, there's that connection. And I feel like that was what the web was all about too, that connection and that expanding of your own energy and joining it up with like-minded individuals. There's just gold in it. There's, like, in my world this week, there's been so many beautiful shifts and transformations. I posted yesterday, just wow, it's been an honour to hold space and witness the journeys that these people have been on. So yeah, and that all starts with connection, and storytelling is such a beautiful way to connect. So question for you, how can you bring more storytelling into what you do, into your everyday life, into your business, into your role as an energetic leader? Obviously this week as well in my world, it's been a lot about intuition. We've done Intuition Unleashed in the membership. I'll pop the details in the comments, actually, of the membership. So, and this week was the big masterclass, which has been golden, and I've had lots of epic feedback about that. A process that I love. It's about strengthening and training that muscle, really, your intuition and trusting it. A sort of everyday process on how to do that, sort of ongoing work. So again, it was very much a mix of divine feminine and divine masculine. So that was delivered in the membership this week, and then I've also downloaded it as a standalone masterclass, Intuition Unleashed. So I will pop the link for that in the comments here as well, in the comments, in the blurb, bio, whatever you call it, in the details down below, down there. And also, while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe. It just lets that ego part of me know that I'm reaching the right part of the right people, and it's making a difference and inspires me to do more. So yeah, that was a story and a half in the end, wasn't it? Storytelling. And I think I'm still processing and thinking, well, is there more? Is there more? How else do you want me to bring this to the world? And like I say, yeah, still not even 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and here I am. So yeah, all those other details are in the comments, and maybe I will talk about Anansi's story. Anyway, you don't need to witness me thinking. Because, again, that was the message in this card, was about flow and trusting that things happen in divine order. So, yeah, nothing needs to happen. Everything is exactly as it should be. It's about not pushing, forcing things, just working from that energy of flow. All life emerges from within. It is about, yeah, trusting the process, I suppose. So, that's my story for today. Have an amazing weekend.